844-580-9326, 844-580-WDBO. Jessica, Adam, how we doing today?
We're doing great. How are you doing, Josh?
I'm doing good as always.
Thanks for spending your Saturday morning with us and to all of you listening. We're only 2 of 16 certified financial planners in our office, so happy to be here today. I do want to remind us that if you don't want to call in and have your question on the air, we do also have a third certified financial planner, Rodney Ownby, in our office here today taking calls. So if it's a little bit more personal, please feel free to call if you have a general question, whether it's for you or a family member that may be a little hesitant to call in as well. Feel free to give us a call and we'll air your question here live. Well, we're really excited about the topic today. So Adam, take it away.
So for those of you who probably are used to seeing Joe on here, well, Joe had a milestone birthday this week, and he is celebrating with family. So there's nothing wrong or anything there, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to miss him. But I'm technically sitting in his seat today so that he can enjoy all the celebration and the family members that are trying to celebrate him.
That's right.
But we are talking about beyond the piggy bank today, which is more of a savings for your children or even your grandchildren, the next generation, and what options you may have or where you want to choose to put some of your money that you may have laying around or that you want to gift. And so, we got curious. I got curious with this. Where did the piggy bank really come from? It kind of seemed like an odd thing to me of how a piggy bank really started. And there's two concepts from what I found in my research was how it began. And I think they're probably tied to each other in some way. But 12th century Java over in Indonesia, they were making these clay pots shaped like boars. And I guess back then they were holding Chinese coins for currency and trading over in that area. But that's where it kind of started. And, it says, and, if I'm wrong on this, please forgive me. I'm not a history buff. But it says that in European and Asian cultures, a pig has been revered as a universal symbol of wealth, luck, and prosperity. So that may be why they started choosing an animal of that nature to be able to shape their clay pots. So then it really came into, it says 15th century England, they started doing jars that were made of this orange colored clay, and it was pig, Pygg. And so I think maybe there was some influence from the history of Java that maybe when they were sailing around the world and doing a lot of trade, that maybe the concepts kind of got paired together and they learned what each others were doing. But so when they started doing the pig jars in England, it started being known as a piggy bank. And then, of course, it came over here and we did start having things in shapes of pigs. But these days, if you actually do have a bank, it's shaped in more things than just a pig. I think some people probably have it in the shape of their favorite cartoon character, like Ariel from The Little Mermaid, or Scooby-Doo if you're of the kids. I mean, these days it could be Pokemon for all I know. So
be a dragon, anything.
Yeah. So, well, I wouldn't want to try to get my money out of a dragon. I know that for sure. Maybe that would be better to keep your child from spending it. So, so then I also think about when we used to have them as kids, a lot of times you didn't have really ways to get the money out. It almost was just designed for you to put the money in, and you couldn't get it out without breaking it. And so I don't know if that's a good savings thing or if that actually created more animosity of, well, do I really want to open this and take my money out now because I have to take a hammer and absolutely shatter it?
I hope you kept track of what you put in all those times. Otherwise, you're breaking it. You don't know what you have in there.
Yeah, you really don't know what you have in there. And then you're not going to have enough money, and then you get, I guess, a little bit disappointed. So I have this vision from the TV show Full House as a kid. Michelle was putting money in her piggy bank, and they said, you're supposed to save it for something very important. And then you hear the sound of the ice cream man coming around, which we don't really probably have too many of those anymore either.
It's all perspective of what's important.
Yeah, and she starts shaking. She says, give me back my money, you pig. And her sisters say, you have to save this for something important. And she says, ice cream is very important. So
I have to agree.
I was like, I would share her sentiment on that when it comes to saving and what is important to. But our real topic when we're trying to talk about what the different options you are is there are many different accounts out there, and really what it comes down to is they all have a different purpose. There's not really one that is better than them all. So it comes down to what your goal is, what you're really striving for to save for the next generation. So there's things, the new Trump accounts are probably the biggest thing that people are talking about just because they're new and not everybody is understanding exactly what they are. There's also UTMA accounts and UGMA accounts. They're very similar, but they do have some slight differences. That's UTMA. It's an acronym for Universal Transfers to Minors Act. And there's 529 accounts. Those are more for education savings. And there's even the concept of doing brokerage accounts where you can have a little bit more control. So we'll kind of break down all the different ones that we have out there today. And I figure it's probably just as easy to go into the Trump accounts because, like I said, those are new. And I think everybody's a little more curious on them. So these Trump accounts that they're named after our president currently, because I think he put the legislation more in place that he wanted them to start, even though Congress technically has to enact it, I believe. But they did name it after him, and that's not really unlike the Roth IRA, which I believe was named after a senator whose last name was Roth. So the president does not get any kickback or any kind of thing from this. It's just more, I guess, recognition of like the Monroe Doctrine and things like that. But they began on July 4th, kind of our bicentennial, not bicentennial. What is it? I can't even say it now. For the 250th anniversary. So those began on July 4th, and there's a special enrollment that you have to do with the Treasury, and a lot of people file it on their tax returns when they do it just to make it simple. But the Treasury is the one that's kind of holding these accounts right now. It's not something that is held at a general custodian like Charles Schwab or Fidelity, for example, where your other accounts can be held. But so one of the biggest things the government has promised to help enact savings is if you're born between 2025 and 2028, the government will give you $1,000 of seed money for the beneficiary to have. So that kind of is, people like to say it's free money. It goes into the account, you get ownership of it. There's no forfeiting it like a 401k with a vesting balance or anything of that. It's in your account and it's there for the beneficiary who is the minor. So
that's really interesting, Adam. So they're really encouraging minors to start saving, right? So
they're trying to do it. And I think it's more of kind of how we preach too, investing for the long haul. It's really, people always look at, well, I got to get into the market at the right time. And we try to tell people it's not timing the market, it's time in the market. So if you've got a child, especially one who's not born yet, or it just was born this past year, you're getting $1,000 of seed money. If you think about that being able to grow for 65 years in some kind of investment fund, there's going to be ups and downs, but generally speaking, you're going to see a lot of growth over the time with that. And
right.
So,
we call that power of compounding.
Yep.
It's very powerful.
I had a pastor who used to call that the eighth wonder of the world, compound interest. So,
I like that.
yeah, it really does. It does pay off. So, but then, so there's different parts with it about what a Trump account is. Again, all these accounts, there's different contribution limits, there's different taxation of them, and they all have something varied. And that's why we says there's not one that's necessarily better than the other. But the Trump accounts have a $5,000 a year contribution limit. Now, that can either come from family members' pockets. You also can have employers that can contribute on your behalf, but the employers can only contribute up to $2,500 each year. Now, the difference with this is, even though the employers are capped at $2,500, your max is still $5,000. So if an employer gives $2,500, you can only give $2,500. If your employer gives zero, then you can give $5,000. So you got to make that work if there's extra things in there coming from contributions outside of what you might be doing from yourself. But there's also going to be a difference of how they're taxed. Are they pre-tax contributions or the after-tax contributions? So anything that a family member gives, you're paying tax on now, and it's going to go in as an after-tax contribution, which in theory would be able to be rolled over to a Roth IRA once the child turns 18 years old and can have everything in their own name. Now, anything the government gives and charities and the ones that are like tax-exempt organizations, all that money is going to be considered pre-tax. So it's the Treasury's job right now to track which contribution is which, where, like what investment it goes into, because when you go to do a rollover, when this child turns 18 and gets to move the account to their own name, you need to know what goes to a traditional IRA and you need to know what goes to a Roth IRA. If you screw that up or the next custodian screws it up, that can get to a headache of trying to unravel it, figure it out, or even pay taxes on a quote unquote early withdrawal at the time because the transfer was done incorrectly. So I would say if you're going to do this for yourself, keep track yourself what money goes in and what investment it goes to, so you can kind of keep them in check when it comes over as just a fail-safe in that manner. So one difference with Trump accounts, they only are allowed to invest in 4 different kind of stock indices that are available for investing, and they're all U.S. indices. So I just say that from a fiduciary perspective, we like to diversify portfolios. We have international holdings in our portfolios. We have real estate. We have a lot of different things that different classifications other than just U.S. holdings. But if you're going into the Trump account, you can only invest in something that's U.S.-based holdings. So there's like 4 of them that I think are more like a complete stock index. There's one that's it follows just the S&P. I don't think it's the SPY, is it? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah. I don't think it's just the SPY, but it follows more just like the S&P 500 index. There's a total U.S. stock market index, which obviously would include companies outside of the S&P as well. So that's mainly where your Trump accounts might have a little bit of limitations on them, but that's really what they are as one of your savings vehicles.
Thank you, Adam. So, Josh, I hear bumper music. Time for a break, huh?
Let's do it. If you've got a question for Jessica or Adam here on the phone today, if you're sitting there with $900,000 in a flounder plastic piggy bank, and there might be a better place for you to put that, stay tuned. Give us a call. Send in an open mic using that WDBO app. If you want to talk to them live on the air, the number to call is 844-580-9326, 844-580 WDBO. We also, as Jessica said at the top of the show, have Rodney Ownby taking your calls off the air. If you want to get a little bit more specific with your numbers, but you don't want to do it on the air, Rodney's taking your calls live now, 407-869-9800, 407-869-9800. You're listening to On the Money, where we're planning tomorrow
Today
with the Certified Financial Group.
Has been chosen once again as one of the top 100 financial advisory firms by CNBC out of nearly 40,000. And because they won't divulge the selection criteria, asked my colleagues what they thought.
Maybe it's because our history dates back almost 50 years.
Could be because we're independent.
But we custody with national firms like Fidelity and others.
17 CFP professionals under one roof.
Or it could be because we're CFEX certified.
and a real person answers the phone.
In any case, we're proud to have been selected. So if you're looking for financial planning or investment advice for a fee, look us up online. You may be new to the area, but we're not. For more than 40 years, our certified financial planner professionals, acting as fiduciaries and providing retirement planning and asset management for a fee to countless families across Central Florida.
We've been with Certified since 1992.
We're now into the third or fourth generation of clients that have come to CFG and the team here to do a great job.
It's been so long since I've been doing this that I just don't even worry about anything anymore.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today.
As an investor, you want peace of mind. You need to know that your advisor is not only thoroughly competent, but also a fiduciary. In other words, he or she is acting at all times in your best interests. You need to trust your advisor, regardless of how much money you have to invest or what part of the world you're in. It might not be your money you're entrusting the advisor with. Perhaps you're a board member of a charity or foundation whose future depends on prudent investment. Or perhaps you have the responsibility of making investment decisions on behalf of other people. As the trustee of a retirement plan, the decisions you make can have a direct impact on the lives of your employees. Whatever type of investor you are, the solution is to use an advisor certified by the Center for Fiduciary Excellence. A CFEX certified advisory firm demonstrates its adherence to a global fiduciary standard of excellence, a defined standard with specific criteria covering 21 best practices. The documented, repeatable processes and the evidence-based decision-making that CFEX demands are more likely to generate investment portfolios that match client needs and expectations. And because the firm voluntarily agrees to a rigorous annual audit, investors can rest assured that their advisor continues to work to the highest professional standards. This independent verification is even more critical for trustees and investment committee members of retirement plans who are legally required to conduct regular due diligence on their service providers. Use a CFEX certified firm, and that job has been done already by an expert at no expense to the plan. So why leave anything to chance? Insist on working with investment professionals you can truly trust. Insist on using a CFEX certified advisor.
So you guys don't know Chicago, but I'm sure in your neighborhood you guys have an old school butcher where you walk in and there's a bunch of guys, no gloves, big white aprons, and there's Frank and there's Stevie and there's Mikey. And these guys know more about meat and more about animals and more about cooking the meat than any of us will ever learn. And so you walk in and you say, hey, Lou, I need to, I'm barbecuing this weekend, right? What do you like? And Lou goes to the big racks of stuff he has underneath the glass, and he goes, the veal chops, just in from Argentina, they are the bomb. And you go, veal? Oh, I like veal. Well, what do you got on skirt steak? Oh, we got some great skirt steak. Just came in yesterday from Montana. Skirt steak is one of my favorite, marinated up a little bit. It's fantastic. Lou will never say to you, Elliot, it's a little long on the meat here, big guy. Your cholesterol is getting high. Why don't you go down to the fishmonger a couple blocks and have a nice piece of salmon? Right? He'll never do that. Why? His job is to sell me meat, and I go in, actually the same way I go into the Toyota dealership, because I like Toyotas, and I trust the salesman to sell me a good product if I trust him. And the fact that he's got my interest at heart vis-a-vis my expectations for selling me that thing. By the same token, when I go to see a dietitian, I know she's going to look at all of my labs, she's going to take all the measurements, she's going to run all of her analysis, and she's going to absolutely give me her best thinking on what's best for me. Whether she's a vegetarian or a meat lover, likes this, likes that.
Welcome back to On the Money. Sorry, Steve Perry. I'll take it from here if you don't mind. Welcome back to On the Money here on WDBO. We got Jessica Hall. We got Adam Jones here giving out wonderful advice to plan for your future generations and generations beyond that. Talking about saving accounts for your kids, all the different options from the piggy bank all the way to the Trump account to the Roth IRA here in the future of their lives. Time in the market is always better than timing the market, as we hear quite frequently on this show. If you want to join the conversation, if you've got questions and you want to join in, 844-580-9326 is the number to call, 844-580-WDBO. If you want to get right down to your specific child and start the journey with the Certified Financial Group, Rodney Ownby taking calls off the air, 407-869-9800, 407-869-9800. Jessica, Adam, back to you guys.
Thanks, Josh. So just to summarize, so far we've talked about Trump accounts, which is the new shiny thing out there, started July 4th this year. Adam, I did want to ask, one of the most common questions we've gotten recently is, if my child's not eligible for the seed money, should we open one?
Well, again, that does depend on what your goal is and saving for your child. But yes, if you don't get the seed money, you're still eligible to open it, and you're more looking at you're saving it for their retirement. Trump accounts aren't something that are really can be used for educational savings. I think if you do use it for educational savings, you would get the early withdrawal exemption. But if it's pre-tax dollars, you're still going to pay taxes on those withdrawals while the child is going to school. So it's still worth it if your goal is simply to, I want to set up some kind of IRA money for my child to be able to pull out when they're past 59 and a half and looking into retirement. So it is still worthwhile if that's what the goal is.
But if the goal is education, what do you got for us?
Well, that's where it comes down to a couple different things. So the main one when it comes to education that we, I guess, work with or see more often is the 529 account. And that one is specifically designed for educational savings. And it's one of those that grows tax-free, or not tax-free, it'll grow tax-deferred. And then if you take the funds out and pay for qualified education expenses, then the withdrawals are going to be tax-free. So with 529 accounts, there's more of you are the parent, grandparent, aunt, uncle. It's really anybody that's related will open an account, and the child will be the beneficiary of the account. So the owner still retains all the rights to the assets. And then again, if they would need to use the assets, they can obviously withdraw it for their own use, but they might have to pay taxes and penalties because they're not using the funds for those education expenses. So 529 accounts are a little different from the Trump accounts in that there are way more investment options. You can use typical mutual funds, or they're still mutual funds, but they're like funds of funds at other custodians like Fidelity and Schwab. I know American Funds runs them as well if you're looking for something on a different platform. So 529s are the ones that have those kind of investment options and gives you a little more choice where you can go international. You can go even fixed income if the child's entering into college and you want to take a little bit less risk, but still want to get a little bit more of that growth or dividend that's going to be paying into them. So that's where a 529 account might be one of the more benefits that you want to look at, as well as higher contribution limits.
All right, Josh, I hear more music. Is it time for another break?
It is time for a break. We're going to head over to Michelle Wargo in the newsroom for live updates of Central Florida's news here on WDBO. We have Bill on hold. We'll get to Bill after the break. Bill's got a question. He tried to use a Trump account and maybe ran into an issue, so he just wants to run it by the experts here at the Certified Financial Group. If you want to follow Bill, you want to join the conversation, 844-580-9326 is the number to call. 844-580-WDBO. You're listening to On the Money, where we're planning tomorrow
Today
with the Certified Financial Group.
So you guys don't know Chicago, but I'm sure in your neighborhood you guys have an old school butcher where you walk in and there's a bunch of guys, no gloves, big white aprons, and there's Frank and there's Stevie and there's Mikey. And these guys know more about meat and more about animals and more about cooking the meat than any of us will ever learn. And so you walk in and you say, hey, Lou, I'm barbecuing this weekend, right? What do you like? And Lou goes to the big racks of stuff he has underneath the glass, and he goes, the veal chops, just in from Argentina, they are the bomb. And you go, veal, oh, I like veal. Well, what do you got on skirt steak? Oh, we got some great skirt steak, just came in yesterday from Montana. Skirt steak is one of my favorite, marinated up a little bit, it's fantastic. Lou will never say to you, Elliot, it's a little long on the meat here, big guy, your cholesterol is getting high. Why don't you go down to the fishmonger a couple blocks and have a nice piece of salmon? Right? He'll never do that. Why? His job is to sell me meat, and I go in, actually the same way I go into the Toyota dealership, because I like Toyotas, and I trust the salesman to sell me a good product if I trust him. And the fact that he's got my interest at heart vis-a-vis my expectations for selling me that thing. By the same token, when I go to see a dietitian, I know she's going to look at all of my labs, she's going to take all the measurements, she's going to run all of her analysis, and she's going to absolutely give me her best thinking on what's best for me. Whether she's a vegetarian or a meat lover, likes this, likes that, if she thinks I should be doing something differently, even if it's not good for her, she's going to give me an opinion that's for my interest. So what's the difference between a fiduciary and the brokers? Well, these are dietitians, these are butchers. It's that simple. Brokers are butchers selling product. Fiduciaries are dietitians looking after your health. The problem is most people think that their butcher is a dietitian. So when one of your moms or dads or friends calls the broker and says, I got 200 grand, I sold a little piece of property, or I got some inheritance, what should I do with it? They're going in thinking they're talking to a dietitian, and they're really talking to Lou the butcher.
What is a fiduciary? When it comes to investing, a fiduciary is legally required to act in your best interest. For 40 years, planners at Certified Financial Group have been guiding our local clients toward financial peace of mind. The rest of the world is still catching up, but our team of certified financial planners are the local, experienced fiduciaries you can trust. Certified Financial Group are your Central Florida planners. Call us today.
40 years ago, I had a dream. CFG has been chosen once again as one of the top 100 financial advisory firms by CNBC out of nearly 40,000. And because they won't divulge the selection criteria, asked my colleagues what they thought.
Maybe it's because our history dates back almost 50 years.
Could be because we're independent, but we custody with national firms like Fidelity and others.
17 CFP professionals under one roof.
Or it could be because we're CFEX certified.
And a real person answers the phone.
In any case, we're proud to have been selected. So if you're looking for financial planning or investment advice for a fee, look us up online. You may be new to the area, but we're not. For more than 40 years, our certified financial planner professionals, acting as fiduciaries and providing retirement planning and asset management for a fee to countless families across Central Florida.
We've been with Certified since 1992.
We're now into the third or fourth generation of clients that have come to CFG and the team here to do a great job.
It's been so long since I've been doing this that I just don't even worry about anything anymore.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today.
As an investor, you want peace of mind. You need to know that your advisor is not only thoroughly competent, but also a fiduciary. In other words, he or she is acting at all times in your best interests. You need to trust your advisor, regardless of how much money you have to invest or what part of the world you're in. It might not be your money you're entrusting the advisor with. Perhaps you're a board member of a charity or foundation whose future depends on prudent investment. Or perhaps you have the responsibility of making investment decisions on behalf of other people. As the trustee of a retirement plan, the decisions you make can have a direct impact on the lives of your employees. Whatever type of investor you are, the solution is to use an advisor certified by the Center for Fiduciary Excellence. A CFEX certified advisory firm demonstrates its adherence to a global fiduciary standard of excellence, a defined standard with specific criteria covering 20.
Welcome back to On the Money here on WDBO AM 580, always streaming inside your very own WDBO app. My name is Josh McCarthy, sitting on the airwaves with Jessica Hall and Adam Jones of the Certified Financial Group, two certified financial planners with that Certified Financial Group. And you, if you want to call in, we got open lines for you available at 844-580-9326, 844-580-WDBO. We also have Rodney Ownby taking your calls live off the air. If you want to get an off-the-air question with specific numbers or specific family situations, everyone's unique, you know, so we want to make sure we have that option available to you. Rodney Ownby, another CFP with the CFG, available to you at 407-869-9800, 407-869-9800. The topic of today's show is Beyond the Piggy Bank, planning the future for some savings for your kids or grandkids or great-great-grandkids. And Bill called in during the break, and Bill said he's been trying to use that Trump account, and he's got a question for our experts. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
Hey, I wanted to put $1,000 in my grandson's Trump account, and my daughter sent me the link, and I opened the app. There were two buttons in there that you can push to deposit money. I I chose the larger one, which was $250. I clicked it 4 times to put $1,000 in there, but only 500 of it showed up in the account. My checking account was debited, but the other, where'd the other 500 go?
Was the full 500 come out of your checking account? And
Well,
not
the full
into the account?
1,000 came, the
Oh.
full 1,000 came out, but I don't know where and 500 of it went into his account, but there's 500 that's kind of missing.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, that's not something that you want to have to encounter. I don't know. That's the first time I've ever heard something of that nature. I hate to say it, that sounds like a technology glitch.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
I would say the first thing I would do is I'd go ask your bank. I understand that these 4 transactions came out, but you could probably show the history of the account, like deposit history into the Trump account, and say it all didn't go in here into the Treasury. Can they see anything on their end for the transaction as to where it went? And then if they can, and they say, well, it went to the Treasury, then sadly, you're going to have to maybe call and contact the Treasury at that point to understand why didn't this all get deposited in their account. Sometimes there may be a routing issue when you're going through electronic channels, and either it gets kind of put into a holding escrow account and just didn't get credited to your grandson's account. But yeah, I'd say that on the behalf of the federal government. I apologize for that, because that is definitely concerning to see how that would happen. I mean, have there been glitches with something that's new like this?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it is brand new, like we've talked about before.
Okay.
I will say there is a phone number. I know you probably don't want to call and wait on hold forever, but if you want to find out where your $500 went, so it's a matter of calling some support, whether it's your bank. Trump Accounts Help Center has a phone number. You can call 866-USA-4547. So maybe try to give them a call and say, hey, exactly what you told us. You deposited $1,000, 500 came out of, or 1,000 came out of my bank account, and the other 500 is ghosted you. So you definitely want to track it down and then make sure it gets to the right place.
Okay, the question actually boils down to: is there a limit that somebody can put in on a given day? Is there a limit of $500?
No, there shouldn't be a daily limit. Again, unless your bank is blocking that for some reason, but nor should they. So it's really an annual contribution limit. And now if somebody in your family has met that limit and they're only letting you put $500 into the account, well, then they still need to, credit your bank account back $500.
It's a brand new account. I was the first one to deposit. So there's
Right.
so there's shouldn't be any limits that are available or that are causing this. I want to thank you for your help, and I'll call my bank. I'll probably stop in there today and then see what I can do from there. Okay?
Yeah,
All right.
let us know, Bill. Give us a call during the week and let us know how it turns out. I'm curious.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you want to join the conversation, again, we have Jessica Hall and Adam Jones answering your 580-9326-844-580 WDBO. Do we have more of that topic to cover, guys, or you want to hit some of these text questions that rolled in?
We can hit on some 529 accounts a little more, and then maybe hit us with a text question that came in. That'd be
Perfect.
Yeah, that'd be great.
great. So we were talking about the 529 accounts before the break, and one of the things that we were talking about is there's different contribution limits for a 529 account. So those are considered gifts, and you have an annual gift exclusion that one person can give to an unlimited amount of people, but it's based on the giver. So with a 529 account,
All right, I got a second here. You guys going? Sorry, wrong button, guys.
Can you hear us?
Yep, sorry, that was an off-air conversation. I turn my mic off now.
no problem.
We like to hear your voice. That's okay.
So with the 529 accounts, you have an annual gifting limitation that you can put into the 529, which right now I believe is $19,000 per year for the giver. Now, the one advantage the 529 account does allow you to do is it does allow you to front load a gifts of up to 5 years at a time. So positives to that, you could put $95,000 into a college education savings account for a beneficiary in 1 year, and then you get more time in the market. The downside you could say to that is, well, if the gifting limitation goes up the next year, you miss out on that. So sometimes the Treasury, the IRS, they increase those limitations based on inflation, where it could go up to 19.5 or even 20,000 the next year. But again, I think if you're putting 95,000 in 1 year because you can afford it and you're going to go savings, you're probably going to come out better in the long run anyways. So there is that one benefit to the 529 account of doing that for the education savings. Now, one of the other benefits they've recently changed in legislation is if the child does not use it all, doesn't go to college, you can actually do conversions to Roth IRAs from the 529 account, which then would allow them to have retirement savings as well. Now, you are limited to what the Roth IRA contribution limit is every year, and I think you get only a 5-year period to do that. But when you're talking at a $7,500 limit right now, you could convert $37,500 over to a Roth IRA after a child just graduates from college, and now they've already got a retirement seed money done, as well as college and education has been paid for. So there's big advantages to the 529 accounts as long as you are strictly looking at it from an education savings standpoint. And then, with the advantage of the 529 as well with a beneficiary, you can change the beneficiary. So if your oldest child goes to college, doesn't use all the funds, change it. You can change the beneficiary to your next child in line and then use the funds for them, which of course it's going to stay more time in the account to grow. And you can kind of keep going down the line. I even had a client years ago, her daughter didn't use it all. She changed the beneficiary to herself and went back to school in her 50s to further her degree. So there's that advantage too when it comes to the 529 accounts. And that's really, I think, all I have on that topic. So Josh, you said you had some text questions out there?
I had never heard of someone doing that, Adam. The fact that if their kids didn't use all the funds, they can use it for themselves to further their education.
Yes, the beneficiary just has to be related to the new beneficiary has to be related to the old beneficiary, and related is kind of broad. Cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents, grandchildren. You could even, wait and name your grandchildren once they're born. You just have to wait for them to be born and have a social security number as well. So it can definitely be almost a lifetime planning tool as well.
That's great to hear. So go ahead, Jessica.
Yeah, maybe you don't want to go back to college, but you want to get a tech degree or,
Yep.
go to HVAC school, get certifications. You can use it for more than just universities and K through 12 education. They're getting pretty wide with what you can use them for.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow,
Sure.
that's great to hear. So if my kids fulfill their dreams of becoming an influencer and skip college, then I'll take all that
You can
money
go
and go back to school.
You can.
Oh, that's great to hear. That's great to hear. Okay, so we'll go into the text questions now. We'll go to Sam from Altamont Springs. And Sam wants to know, is there an optimal period to choose for doing Roth conversions?
Ooh, we get this question a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is really something that we dig deep in when we do financial planning because there's so many different variables that go into this, right? We're going to ask you questions about what your income is, what kind of expenses are you planning to need, what kind of accounts do we have, where are we going to pull from to fund those things. But really, in our world, when you do Roth conversions, you have to remember that the money you take out of your IRA is 100% taxable to you in ordinary income to convert that to Roth. So do we want to pay more taxes in our high income years? And it's really, people have different feelings about it. What's your feeling, Adam?
Well, a lot of people, they may have the assumption that the tax rates are going to go up in the future because they're concerned about our national debt. So yeah, in that instance, well, then a Roth conversion would be more useful to have tax-free growth for when you're, 75, 80, 85, 90, however long you live. We see clients that live well into their 90s and they're still needing retirement funds as well. I would say it's more of a general answer, but again, as Jessica said, it's more specific to your situation, not in a general way. We like to look at when a person fully retires and before they reach their RMD age, because the RMD has to come out. So we're not necessarily looking to convert on top of the RMD because that creates more taxable income as well. But there is even like a sweet spot if you don't have a lot of debt, you've paid mortgage off and everything like that, you can retire and you have a lot of savings in your bank that you can live off of. If you're not pulling out any withdrawals, you're not claiming Social Security, that would be a prime time to do a Roth conversion right there because it would be the only income you would have to claim for the year.
Yeah, and just to, again, define, because Sam may know, but maybe some of our other listeners don't. When we talk about Roth conversions, what that means is you've saved in your pre-tax accounts all these years while you're working, and then you retire and maybe you want to build a bucket of Roth. So what you're doing is you're taking your pre-tax funds and converting them over to Roth paying the taxes now to then let that account grow tax deferred with a pot of tax-free withdrawals later. So a couple rules, right? Your Roth has to be open at least 5 years before you can take out of the account. And then of course, 59 and a half if you want to take out the growth of the account. But really this isn't just one solid answer. Everybody's situation is different. So that's why we find that financial planning process so important.
Yeah, it's as he says, it's a process. It's sometimes becomes a bit of a chess game. We can move this piece here and this piece is going to be freed up, and maybe vice versa in different ways. So that's why we says it's one thing if you want to come and get a free consultation from us to sit down and really look at your financial situation and what would be great for you. That's where it's not really just a blanket answer for everybody.
And every year is different. Things change every year.
Yep. So
I see we have another call question. Do we have time before the break, or should we help Bob after?
We can go ahead and maybe get Bob's question on the air, and then we'll address it here after the break. Bob, you are live with the Certified Financial Group. Go ahead.
Hi. First, I want to let you know that I've been listening for a long time, and I mentioned to Joe a while back that it's nice to hear all the new people he hired on and to hear you talk and stuff. So I'm glad he's put you on there and put you to the fire, as we say.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay. Anyway, my question is, I'm 60, so I think my RMD age got moved up to now 75, I believe, when I have to start doing that.
Yes.
And then what do they recommend for doing that? Like when you do the percentage, like let's say it was like 38, you had to do like 38.75 and that amount for that year. Would they say to be safe, do 4,000? That way you're good. And also what I'm going to do with it, I'm just going to do charity only. That way I don't have to worry about anything. But I just want to make sure that I do enough, but I don't care if I go a little bit over. So I don't know what you all do when you decide to plan that.
Well, we can have a very detailed answer for you.
Yep.
I think Josh is going to send us to a break, and when we get back, Bob, we're going to answer your question, okay?
Thank you much, Bob. If you want to join the conversation after Bob here, we got open lines available for you. 844-580-9326 is the number to call. You're listening to On the Money, where we're planning tomorrow
Today
with the Certified Financial Group.
So you guys don't know Chicago, but I'm sure in your neighborhood you guys have an old school butcher where you walk in and there's a bunch of guys, no gloves, big white aprons, and there's Frank and there's Stevie and there's Mikey. And these guys know more about meat and more about animals and more about cooking the meat than any of us will ever learn. And so you walk in and you say, hey, Lou, I need to, I'm barbecuing this weekend, right? What do you like? And Lou goes to the big racks of stuff he has underneath the glass, and he goes, the veal chops, just in from Argentina, they are the bomb. And you go, veal, oh, I like veal. Well, what do you got on skirt steak? Oh, we got some great skirt steak, just came in yesterday from Montana. Skirt steak is one of my favorite, marinated up a little bit, it's fantastic. Lou will never say to you, Elliot, it's a little long on the meat here, big guy, your cholesterol is getting high. Why don't you go down to the fishmonger a couple blocks and have a nice piece of salmon? Right? He'll never do that. Why? His job is to sell me meat, and I go in, actually the same way I go into the Toyota dealership, because I like Toyotas, and I trust the salesman to sell me a good product if I trust him. And the fact that he's got my interest at heart vis-a-vis my expectations for selling me that thing. By the same token, when I go to see a dietitian, I know she's going to look at all of my labs, she's going to take all the measurements, she's going to run all of her analysis, and she's going to absolutely give me her best thinking on what's best for me. Whether she's a vegetarian or a meat lover, likes this, likes that, if she thinks I should be doing something differently, even if it's not good for her, she's going to give me an opinion that's for my interest. So what's the difference between a fiduciary and the brokers? Well, these are dietitians, these are butchers. It's that simple. Brokers are butchers selling product. Fiduciaries are dietitians looking after your health. The problem is most people think that their butcher is a dietitian. So when one of your moms or dads or friends calls the broker He says, I got 200 grand, I sold a little piece of property, or I got some inheritance. What should I do with it? They're going in thinking they're talking to a dietitian, and they're really talking to Lou the butcher.
What is a fiduciary? When it comes to investing, a fiduciary is legally required to act in your best interest. For 40 years, planners at Certified Financial Group have been guiding our local clients toward financial peace of mind. The rest of the world is still catching up, but our team of certified financial planners are the local, experienced fiduciaries you can trust. Certified Financial Group are your Central Florida planners. Call us today.
40. CFG has been chosen once again as one of the top 100 financial advisory firms by CNBC of nearly 40,000. And because they won't divulge the selection criteria, asked my colleagues what they thought.
Maybe it's because our history dates back almost 50 years.
Could be because we're independent.
But we custody with national firms like Fidelity and others.
17 CFP professionals under one roof.
Or it could be because we're CFEX certified.
And a real person answers the phone.
In any case, we're proud to have been selected. So if you're looking for financial planning or investment advice for a fee, look us up online. You may be new to the area, but we're not. For more than 40 years, our certified financial planner professionals, acting as fiduciaries and providing retirement planning and asset management for a fee to countless families across Central Florida.
We've been with Certified since 1992.
We're now into the third or fourth generation of clients that have come to CFG and the team here to do a great job.
It's been so long since I've been doing this that I just don't even worry about anything anymore.
We're Certified Financial Group, where we're planning tomorrow, today.
As an investor,
Welcome back to On the Money here on WDBO, AM 580, always streaming inside your WDBO app. My name is Josh McCarthy, sitting here with Jessica Hall and Adam Jones with the Certified Financial Group, two certified financial planners with the Certified Financial Group. If you want to call, they got Rodney Ownby taking your calls off the air at 407-869-9800, 407-869-9800. And before the break, Jessica and Adam touched in with Bob. Bob, you're back on live on the air.
Hi again. Yeah, I just wanted to see, like I said, I'm going to do my RMD when I turn 75 and do it charitable. That way I don't worry about any tax worries or anything like that. Just want to make sure that if you just go a little bit but what they say, the amount you're supposed to pull out to be safe, or does it matter?
Good question, Bob. This is something that a lot of our clients ask us. We work on RMDs day in and day out because as you reach that magical age, you don't want to get in trouble with the IRS because you will get penalized if you don't take your required minimum distribution. But there is a set calculation. So what they do is when you turn 75, the year you turn 75, they're going to take the 1231 value from the previous year, and you're going to do in current rate, 3.65% of that. So there's a life expectancy table. Your RMD will increase each year. That percentage is going to go up each year, but you don't have to worry about calculating it because wherever your retirement account lives, that custodian should help you calculate it. Or if you work with a personal certified financial planner or advisor, whoever you work with, they'll help you calculate it. And to answer your question, you do not need to round up. You can take to the penny what your calculation is, and you will not get in trouble. Because there's such a set amount. And what Bob is referring to when he says he's given it to charities is called a qualified charitable distribution. So he's distributing money right from his IRA to a charity of his choice, and that money is not taxable. So usually when you take your required minimum distributions, you distribute it to your account or withdraw it, spend it, reinvest it, whatever it is that you choose. You have to pay the IRS taxes because that's counted as ordinary income. But if you take it right out of your IRA, give it to a qualified charity, then that is excluded from your ordinary income. So hopefully I touched your question there. It is calculated to an exact penny. You do not need to round up. Whoever your custodian is or financial planner is will help you calculate it and help keep you out of trouble. Anything to add, Adam?
Nope. I think it's pretty much like you said. I mean, the only other difference is you can do a qualified charitable distribution starting at age 70 and a half. You don't have to wait until you're at your RMD age, but it's the advantage of by doing it, it will cover your RMD when you need to take that money out. So
That's right. Do we answer your question for you, Bob?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I just thinking like I'm being, trying to make it even to look better for me. Because like I said, going to charity, it's helping them out. So if I want to go a little bit higher, I can do it. It's not a big deal, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's limits up to, and today it's what, $105,000 a year you can give to charity out of your IRA. So as long as you don't exceed that limit, then you're safe.
the only thing I would caution, on your charitable heart is just make sure you're not overgiving where you could pinch yourself later on in life. It's great at what you want to do, but that's just something we say. If you're giving away too much now, you have a long life. We don't want you to get to the end and start running out of money.
Well, I hear you there. Well, good. Thanks a lot. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Bob. All right.
So we have some seminars coming up, don't we?
We do, and I'm hearing music, so I'm going to have to learn how to talk really fast here. Our upcoming workshops are on August 1st. Wynn Smith, one of our certified financial planners, is hosting How Tax Planning Changes Through 4 Stages of Retirement. Justin Spittler on August 15th for tax-efficient investing and distribution strategies. And on August 29th, Charles Curry for Savvy IRA planning. So if you'd like to register for any of those, please go to our website, and we'd love to see you here in our office. You've probably seen people trickling in behind us because they're hosting a workshop today.
Yep. We do them almost every 2 weeks, it seems like. So before we head out, there were a couple other things we mentioned. There's such things for savings called UTMA accounts, UTMAs, and we even talked about using brokerage accounts. There's other methods out there for savings other than just the two we talked about, and some of those have some little more details to them. So if there's anything you're thinking about gifting to your kids and you need more information on those because we didn't get to them, look us up, give us a call. We'll be able to sit down and kind of go over more of those details with you in person.
All right, Josh, take it away.
Thank you so much, Jessica and Adam. Rodney Odemy again taking your calls off the air, 407-869-9800. You've just listened to On the Money, where we're planning tomorrow,
Today,
with the Certified Financial Group.